Hey everybody, here's the finished product and it was delicious. Just using that pork was amazing, and using the pork fat really added to it, but you can use anything from your fridge. It'll be great, and this whole thing took about 15 minutes. I've edited it down just for your viewing pleasure, but it's a quick, delicious dish, so hope you give it a try. Now we'll get to how we made it. Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I am making fried rice. So with this one, what I've got is basically about 2 cups of rice that I cooked yesterday. Could have done it same day, but um, there's a debate on the internet whether same day is as good as day old. Today I did day old, so it's pretty dry, so should work well. With that, I got 2 eggs, just 2 teaspoons of light soy sauce, some white pepper, about 3/4 of a cup of just frozen mixed vegetables, 2 green onions, 2 small garlic cloves, and a hunk of guanciale, which is leftover from the carbonara recipe that I did a little while back. So that is pork. It's pork jowl actually. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to render it down, and then I'll use the fat from it to actually do the fried rice. So we'll see how that works. And then the only other thing I've got is a kitchen torch here, which I'll use at the end just to give it a little bit of that wok hay flavor that you get from the takeout fried rice. It's pretty hard to do at home. So with that, I'll just do the fairly limited prep here, and we'll go to the wok and get cooking. So just chopping up the green onions. In here, I'm going to keep it separate, basically the tops of the green onions along with from the whites of the bottom, so I'm going to cook them at different times. You'll see I also just minced up the garlic and chopped the guanciale up in relatively small pieces so that they render nice and easily. And now it's just a matter of cracking the eggs. There's no separation or anything here. I'm using 2 whole eggs, which I find is a good amount for roughly 2 cups of rice, but of course you can use less or more if you like. And now over to the stove. So here I'm gonna preheat the wok, and what I did for this one was basically got the wok hot, added a few drops of regular cooking oil, and used a paper towel to season it before I added the guanciale. And then I added the guanciale in there, and you can see here it's been cooking for a few minutes. I've rendered off the fat and basically pushed it off to the side. I could have used a slotted spoon to pull it out as well, but here I turned the heat off and basically just draining it on the side of the wok, and just going to kind of flip it onto the cutting board because I'll be adding that back again at the end. But I wanted to render it first so I could use the oil or the fat from it to cook the rice. And you'll notice it's a little smokier. It's this The fat from the guanciale certainly got a lower smoke point than the oils I would normally use, like peanut or avocado, which have a pretty high smoke point. So you will see a little more smoke coming off. You want to make sure you got a good hood fan to do this. So I took a fork to the eggs, just mixed them up, and dumped them in there. Just going to loosen them, and you'll see that because the wok has been well seasoned, they're just floating around, not sticking at all. So cook that for a couple minutes on one side and then give it a flip, and then I'm going to just push it off to the side here. The other option here is to just pull it out and add it back in later, which in retrospect maybe would have been a good thing to do, particularly since I'm using frozen vegetables here. The the frozen vegetables need a bit more time in order for the water to come off, and that egg is still cooking there on the side of the wok. So I've added the frozen veggies along with the whites from the green onions and the minced garlic, and then gave that cooked for about 2 minutes. I just cut it out for you, and once the water came off and they looked like they had been sort of dried out, threw the rice in. And here you can see that egg was a little bit browned, but it was fine. Caught it just in the nick of time. And again, to prevent that, you could just take the egg out when you do the veggies. So here, after about a minute of agitating it, you can see that I've managed to break up the egg into the rice. And then I'm adding about a tablespoon of oil. This time I'm using peanut, and 2 teaspoons of soy sauce around the side. I'm going to pull out the kitchen torch here and just give it a few tosses in order to get a bit of flavor on that rice. So I'm doing this till it gets I can see a little bit of browning, but not much. It's probably about 30 seconds in total. And the other trick when basically doing the rice, like I knew when to add the sauce and the oil. Once the rice started sort of popping around, that meant that it was nice and dry and hot. When they started the rice grains start jumping, so that's when I added the oil and the soy. Added in the guanciale back, added in the green onion tops, add a bit of black pepper, give it a few tosses, and onto the plate it goes. So it comes together very fast. You want to make sure you have all your stuff ready when you're doing this because there's not a lot of time to reach for things, that's for sure. Okay, let's give this a try. Mm, it's very silky from that pork fat, as one would expect. Mm, pork is crunchy and chewy at the same time. Delicious. There we go. So here it is. And you can see that nicely balanced, not too dark because there's only 2 teaspoons of soy sauce in there. And certainly you can add more when you serve it if people want a little bit more salt, more flavor, but it's always better to add a little less and a little more. And the pork is great, but of course you can use any sort of leftover meats that you have, and it comes together very quickly. It's certainly delicious. Hope you enjoy.